Welcome back to Inside the 12. He's Taylor McHargue. I'm Pete Sousa. And we are so lucky to be joined by NFL draft analyst, host of The McShay Show on The Ringer and Spotify. There he is in the bunker. He's back in the bunker, back to work time, off the beach for Todd McShay. What's up, partner?
Not much, man. It's always good to catch up with you and Taylor. Good to talk to you again after the Manning Passing Academy. So it's like old home week here.
We're going to start with the passers in the Big 12. A lot of quarterbacks, Todd. Quick question for you to start. Who is a marquee quarterback for NFL scouts and front office guys? And then on the back half of that, who is rising up draft boards that people aren't talking about?
Yeah, it's a wild year, right? Like you go back to last year's class and we came into the season and there weren't like a lot of quarterbacks at the top. Nationally there are, and in the Big 12 there are too. Sam Leavitt, to me, I don't know if you call him underrated because of what he did in his first year as a starter, transferring from Michigan State to Arizona State and the season they had going to the college football playoff. But I thought going back this summer and watching his tape, he got better and better as the year progressed and went from a guy that they were kind of protecting early on and leaning on Cam Scatterbooth throughout the year. And that part never changed. But he started to push things and become the aggressor and attack down the field. And obviously the injury to Jordan Tyson hurt what they can do and what they could do, I should say, in the passing game. But to see him, like the aggressive playmaking, the live arm, the ball just snaps off of his hand, and to see the mobility too, like almost 500 rushing yards. So to me, while he's only about 6'2", 200 pounds, he's an NFL quarterback. And I think if he continues to progress, whether it's in the 2026 draft or one more year in college, and he'll be a part of that Arch Manning, maybe Lenoris Sellers, DJ Lagway draft in 2027, he's going to wind up being, I think, a first-round pick when it's all said and done. So I'm excited to see him. As far as rising, like there's a lot of quarterbacks to kind of pick from here, right? We got to see Kansas State versus Iowa State. We saw Avery Johnson, I thought, kind of outplay in terms of the passing attack, Rocco Becht in that game. Both guys are on NFL radars for NFL scouts across the league. I think Avery Johnson has a little bit more in terms of the mobility, the creativity, the playmaking at this point. And you saw that deep ball accuracy in the game in terrible conditions out in Ireland. But those are two guys. But the one I want you, and I like Noah Fafita a lot. He's undersized, so I worry about the NFL. But Taylor, you saw him at the Manning Passing Academy. Like the ball just explodes off his hand, and everything's so decisive and twitchy. But I love Sawyer Robertson at Baylor. I think this is going to be an intriguing year for Dave Aranda's team at Baylor. You look at that program, and they finally have a guy coming into the year that they know exactly what they have at the position. 6'4", 220, more mobile than I thought, to be honest, on tape, and the ability to throw accurately all three levels and on the move. I think he's a guy that not a lot of people are talking about right now, but we could maybe see him in the first two nights of the draft come next April.
Todd, a guy that's already starting to garner some headlines this offseason for the draft next season, Spencer Fano from Utah. Mm-hmm. Where do you feel like his ceiling is for next year's draft?
Really high, like OT1 high. I think he could be the top offensive tackle drafted. I really do. I was told by a scout to go watch his tape and to watch the other guy too on the opposite side, Caleb Lomu, right? And Lomu's the left tackle. Fano is the right tackle, and you typically think the left tackle is more athletic. They're both athletic, but Fano, man, like it's almost like watching Tyler Warren with like 40 more pounds on his body. I mean, the way he moves, and yes, he's got to get a little bit stronger, and he's got to clean up his footwork a little bit. And Steve Mensch, who Sousa knows really well, we went to college together and played at Richmond. He's my offensive line guy, so he's already picking apart the footwork. But you don't find many guys, 300-plus pounds, that can move the way that this young man does. I'm so excited to see him in his second year as a starter. And who would have thought, like, Utah has potentially like two of the top 3 or 4 offensive tackles in the entire draft. And I think when it's all said and done, Fano could be a top 15 pick.
You get a couple quarterbacks talking about offensive linemen. I got to calm you guys both down.
I know, it gets awkward.
All right, what about skill guys? You mentioned Jordan Tyson. Who is the most prolific skill guy in this Big 12 class for NFL draft guys right now?
It is Tyson. I mean, we saw what that offense was with him versus without him. 1,100 receiving yards despite the injury and missing some time. He's got some Deebo Samuel to his game. I think Deebo has been utilized throughout his career in a more versatile role, but you can see that like compact, almost running back-like build, the strength after the catch, sturdy, like in traffic. Now, there were a lot of drops on tape, and I think that like if there's one area I'm looking for in his game to improve, it's more consistency just catching the football. You know, some of them are focus drops, some of them he's getting like kind of twisted around a little bit, but that's an area you can improve upon. I expect to see that improvement this year. But Tyson's up there. I mean, like Antonio Williams, I should say, from Clemson. There's a lot of good wide receivers. No number one clear-cut wide receiver in this class. I think Jordan Tyson is very much in the mix with that group. And then beyond that, like there's some interesting players. I think more kind of middle of the draft, if you will, but there's some running backs in this conference that I'm really intrigued to see this year, okay? Baylor's Bryson Washington. He's a redshirt sophomore. He, like his freshman year last year, over 1,000 yards rushing, 12 touchdowns. He's got some juice to him. Jaheim White, undersized at West Virginia. There was talk of him maybe leaving for the draft, maybe leaving in the transfer portal. Well, he's back, and like, how much fun is it going to be to see this guy with the explosiveness, the twitch that he has, the production he's had when he's been healthy? Remember, he had that hamstring injury in the bowl game, but I'm told he's back. He's ready to go, and in that Rich Rod offense, right, coming back to West Virginia, I'm excited to see that. And then another player that I was, it was unfortunate to see for Kansas State, Dylan Edwards, I should say, sorry. He's explosive. He played one play in the game, got injured out in Ireland. We'll see how long it takes for him to come back. But he's another player that's on NFL scouts' radars at this point, too.
Pete knows I could talk offense and quarterbacks and offensive line with you all day, but what about the other side? What are a couple names on the defensive side of the ball that are garnering headlines as we move to the draft next year?
I'll give you two. The first one is a transfer that I'm just excited to see. And like talking to scouts around the country, they're all pointing at David Bailey, Texas Tech, as a guy who could go from, he had 6 sacks at Stanford last year. Nobody really knows about him, but my goodness, is he talented. 6'3", 250, just explodes off the line. He's got a lot of twitch. He's got some length, even though he's not a 6'5" defensive end. But he's a player that with the bend that you look for, like so important, working through offensive tackles and progressing that pass rush while engaged. He does a lot of really intriguing things on tape. And like the Red Matador Club, right? They just backed up that Brinks truck. What is it, 16 transfer portal, somewhere in that range? Players from the transfer portal. So, but he's the guy of that group. So I think David Bailey's got a chance. Right now, scouts talk, maybe he works his way into the first, maybe a second rounder at this point, but he's got that potential in a really deep edge class in 2026 to be one of the risers and eventually be a first-round pick. And then after that, I'm really intrigued to see at Colorado. This could be a little bit of a down year for them after losing Shedeur and Travis Hunter. But the other cornerback opposite Hunter, DJ McKinley, he's like 6'1". He's got speed to carry receivers vertically, a lot of instincts there as a player, 61 tackles. He's got that toughness you look for. 3 interceptions in the final 4 games. He really came on strong at the end of last year, and that has scouts kind of salivating to see, is this guy legit? Like, is he with Dion there, Coach Prime, kind of working with him? Is he going to be a top 50, top 70 type prospect by the end of the year?
McShay, dude, I wish we had more time. You've done it again. I appreciate it so much. Hey, tell people, our worldwide audience, where they can find the McShay Report and the McShay Show and what you got going on.
I appreciate it. It's the McShay Show with my guy Mensch, as you well know. We just started it last October, so we're excited for our first full season. We're everywhere you find shows and podcasts these days, right? YouTube, we got the YouTube channel, the McShay Show, Apple, Spotify, and everywhere else that you get podcasts. And then the McShay Report's my baby, right? Is my scouting reports, my rankings, the mock drafts, different intel articles that we do throughout the year. We've been doing a whole extravaganza leading up to college football. So Google the McShay Report. Subscribe today if you can, please. And I'm done being a shill here.
All right, Todd, we appreciate you, dude. We will talk to you soon.
Thanks, Todd.
All right, guys. Take care.
That was Todd McShay, and that's about as good as it gets as far as draft intel is concerned.
No doubt. He's the man. And you're right. We could have talked quarterbacks, O-line, back and forth that entire time, but appreciate Todd coming on.
Oh, really appreciate it. All right, we'll be coming back with the biggest Week 1 matchups in the Big 12. Everybody's in action. We're going to get you set up for it when we come back.